The observation deck of the Celestial Ranger hummed with the soft, ambient noise of a ship at peace. Ayla Grant sat cross-legged on the floor, a plate of scrambled eggs and toast balanced on her knee, while across from her, Ravlo, a young Valkyrian cub barely 3 cycles old, attempted to mimic her eating style with his own bowl of nutrient paste. Fork goes like this, Ayla demonstrated, her voice patient as morning sunlight. She stabbed a piece of egg and brought it to her mouth. Ravlo's four-fingered hand gripped his utensil awkwardly. His amber eyes narrowed in concentration. His species, the Valkyrians, were apex predators from a high-gravity world, built like bipedal bears with crystalline fur that shimmered in shades of bronze and gold. Even as a cub, Ravlo stood nearly as tall as Ayla when upright. "Who man Ayla?" he rumbled in his broken standard. "Why eat slow? Pray not run from plate." Ayla laughed, the sound warm and easy. "It's called savoring, little guy. Besides, we're not hunting. We're—" The proximity alarm screamed. Red light flooded the observation deck. Ayla's plate clattered to the floor as she lunged for the wall console, eggs forgotten. The display showed 3 Kazathi raiders dropping out of hyperspace, their weapons already charging. "Hull breach imminent," the ship's AI announced with clinical detachment. "Enemy boarding parties detected. Hangar bay compromised." Ayla's heart hammered, but her hands moved with practiced efficiency, pulling up defensive protocols. The Celestial Ranger was a science vessel, lightly armed, crew of 12. They couldn't fight off Kazathi pirates, insectoid marauders known for taking slaves and stripping ships down to their hulls. "Ravlo, get to the emergency pods." "No run," the cub growled, rising to his full height. His pupils had contracted to predatory slits. "This isn't a discussion." The door exploded inward. 4 Kazathi warriors poured through, their kittiness armor gleaming black, plasma rifles raised. They moved with the terrifying coordination of a hive mind, mandibles clicking in what might have been laughter. Ayla reached for her sidearm, but she knew the math. 4 trained raiders, 1 xenobiologist with basic weapons training, and 1 cub. They were dead. Then Ravlo moved. The cub was a blur of bronze and fury. He didn't charge wildly, he calculated. The first Kazathi never saw him coming. Ravlo's claws, designed to crack the armored shells of his homeworld's megafauna, punched through chitin like tissue paper. The raider's thorax caved inward with a wet crunch. The second Kazathi swung its rifle around, but Ravlo was already pivoting, using the first body as a shield. Plasma bolts sizzled into his makeshift cover. In one fluid motion, he hurled the corpse at the shooter and followed behind it, jaws agape. Ayla finally got her pistol up and fired twice, center mass on the third raider. It staggered but didn't fall. These things were tough. Ravlo didn't pause. Even as he tore out the second raider's throat, his tail, thick and muscular, swept the legs out from under the third. The Kazathi hit the deck hard, and Ayla put 3 more rounds into its head until it stopped twitching. The fourth raider made a run for it. "Ravlo, no, let it go, too." But the cub was already in motion, his predator instincts fully engaged. He caught the fleeing Kazathi at the doorway, dragged it back into the room, and ended it with brutal efficiency. Silence fell, broken only by Ravlo's heavy breathing and the continued wailing of alarms. The cub turned to face Ayla, blood green and viscous, dripping from his claws and muzzle. For a moment, she saw the apex predator, the reason the Galactic Council had been hesitant to admit the Valkyrians to civilized space. Then Ravlo walked back to his bowl of nutrient paste, sat down and resumed eating. "Pray not run from plate," he said simply, scooping paste into his mouth with his bloodied fork. Ayla stared, her brain struggling to process what she'd just witnessed. Then, almost against her will, she started to laugh, a half-hysterical sound that she quickly brought under control. "Right," she muttered, retrieving her own plate from the floor. Most of her eggs were salvageable. "Priorities." She sat back down across from Ravlo and took a bite of toast. Her hands were shaking slightly, adrenaline still flooding her system, but damned if she'd let a bunch of pirates ruin breakfast. The ship's intercom crackled. "Ayla? What's your status? Oh God, we've got boarders everywhere." Ayla reached over and keyed the comm. "Captain, this is Grant. Observation deck is secure. Hostiles neutralized. Ravlo and I are finishing breakfast. We'll deal with the rest of the boarding party after. A long pause. You're... what? Eating, sir. Ravlo made an excellent point about not letting your prey run from your plate. She glanced at the cub, who had paused mid-bite to listen. I estimate we'll need about 8 more minutes. Then we can clear the ship. Ravlo seems eager for the exercise. The cub's ears perked up. More prey? Lots more, buddy. But we eat first. From the comm, she heard the captain's bewildered voice conferring with someone else. She says they're eating breakfast. Yes, I know there are raiders on board. No, I don't know what to. Just send security to the observation deck. Another group of Kazathi appeared at the broken doorway, attracted by the sounds of their fallen comrades. There were 6 this time, moving more cautiously. Ravlo glanced up at them, then back at his bowl. He scooped another mouthful of paste, chewed thoughtfully, and swallowed. Isla did the same with her eggs, maintaining eye contact with the lead raider. The Kazathi warriors stood frozen in the doorway, their weapons raised but not firing, confused by the scene before them. A human and a Valkyrian cub, sitting cross-legged among the corpses of their comrades, calmly eating breakfast. "Who man Isla?" Ravlo said quietly. "When finish food?" She took another bite, chewed, swallowed. 2 more minutes. Good timing, the cub agreed. The lead Kazathi clicked something in its language, probably in order to fire. But before any trigger could be pulled, Ravlo moved again. This time, Ayla saw it clearly. The cub had been tracking each raider's position even while eating, calculating angles and distances. When he exploded into motion, it was with the same terrifying efficiency as before. No wasted movement, no hesitation. Just pure predatory perfection. And somehow, impossibly, Ayla found herself joining in. Maybe it was the adrenaline. Maybe it was Ravlo's absolute certainty that this was just another part of the morning routine. But she moved with him, covering his flanks, taking shots when openings appeared, trusting the cub's instincts to guide them both. 4 minutes later, they sat back down. Ravlo picked up his fork. Now finish? Ayla looked at her plate, then at the 12 dead Kazathi now decorating the observation deck, then back at her eggs. They were cold, but she'd been in worse situations. Yeah, she said, stabbing a piece with her fork. Now we finish. The ship's comm crackled again. Grant, security reports all boarders have retreated to their ships. The raiders they're withdrawing. What the hell did you do? Ayla glanced at Ravlo, who was methodically cleaning his bowl, his tail swishing contentedly. We had breakfast, Captain. Turns out the cubs are really good at multitasking.